You watch Tales from the Jedi?
I did. Yeah,
You like it as much as me?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I mean, the first episode's a little bit of a slog, and I'm kind of like Ahsoka or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't really be arsed. I didn't watch all of Clone Wars. I watched the last episodes that were on Disney Plus that were like more like a movie. And those were great. And I don't know. It just seems like she's almost like fetishized to the point where like even as a baby, she was a good baby.
She's so fucking good. Yeah.
But the Count Dooku plot line is probably some of the best Star Wars I've seen.
Right. I was totally taken by surprise. It wasn't the kind of thing I was like thrilled to pop on. Like, oh, especially after Bad Batch. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't like fuck around with, I can't pretend that these children's cartoons are for me.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, Tales of the Jedi, it's like it's in that same Filoni Baloney style. But refined, very refined. And they're short. They're like 14 episodes or 14 minutes. And how many episodes? Like six?
yeah, there were
Or
6 total. So like
six?
3 were about Ahsoka and 3 were about Dooku.
I love it. I love that they just it's like those shows where those shows are good. Like I liked Rebels, but there's so much fluff. There's so much like the kitty madcap adventure stuff that just like makes you glaze over in your eyes. And then you get these really great Star Wars moments, but you have to suffer through a lot of that children's show BS. This is like you just cut out all of that.
They're just distilled. Yeah, totally.
And you get a lot of great Star Wars moments. And I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen Clone Wars, so I don't know how much they went into Count Dooku's like motivations and plot. But I've always thought in the movies it was just like, oh look, Saruman's here and he's bad now. He's Darth Maul now, and that was about it. And this, I thought this like it made sense with what I've seen in the movies. It like brought a richness to that character that the was never in the prequels.
It always in the prequels, it always struck me. I always thought it was kind of a cool creative decision to be like, all right, so we gave you the devil, we gave you, kind of like Darth Vader is this very like menacing, dark, evil wizard, and then you give us like this devil in Darth Maul, and then there's this third guy that's basically just like King Arthur kind of, and he's Dracula, and I always thought it was cool that that Lucas just thought of something new for what a Sith Lord could be. But I always thought it was a little bit like dissonant that he would also be a political radical. Like I don't think of like a Dracula in a cape as like a political radical. And
yeah, and I didn't really understand what he was to be on, like a separatist. What is that? What exactly is going on here? Where did he come from?
yeah. And so
quite clear.
Rather than making a 75 episode full blood, all these new characters and shit, they made 6 15-minute animated shows with precision storytelling. And by the way, like if sometimes you'll see a movie with a really long runtime and you'll be like, well, I guess they had to get a lot done, and it does feel a bit long, but they did have to get. It's like watch something like this and recognize how much story you can actually pack into such a short amount of time.
It's so true.
Like so if it's 6 episodes 15 minutes, so I mean it's a little over an hour of your time to watch the whole thing, and it's like it covers so much ground so quietly, so economically. So if you haven't seen it and you want to be enticed, episode 1, yeah, it's about Ahsoka as an infant. She's brought up in like this village, and they kind of discover she has the Force and she should probably go study with the Jedi. Not the best episode ever, but I guess it's interesting to see Ahsoka as a baby. Then they go into Dooku. Dooku is a middle-aged man with a teenage apprentice named Qui-Gon Jinn. And Qui-Gon's, I think, one of the best Star Wars characters, honestly. Like there's something really unique about him. He's kind of like the proto Obi-Wan Kenobi that never really gets to grow to be Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yeah.
And he like you heard that he was Qui-Gon's master, but they never explored that as far as I can tell. Yeah. And all of a sudden we got to actually see a full adventure where like these injustices were happening and Dooku wanted to like exact revenge, and you could tell like this guy kind of has the dark side in him, and Qui-Gon's the thing that holds him back. And when Qui-Gon dies, he was like bereft, and he was expected at the funeral, but he was like, I don't think I'd be very pleasant company there, because
Yeah.
he kind of already was having a falling out with the Jedi Council. And
Yeah,
then,
and I like just like the simple characterizations there, where I don't know, he's not jealous of Qui-Gon. He's more like I admire you, and
yeah,
like in a way that like I can't even see that in myself. Like I don't see that ever fostering in myself.
right.
And like it's just like this like respect and love that he has that you can feel, which is just crazy, this little cartoon. And like
Yeah.
and it would add so much to that character. And it made sense. It made sense. And I can't believe that they did it in this little short cartoon.
And then, as if they needed to do more, they explained. They didn't explain who Yaddle is. You know, the Lady Yoda that you see in Phantom Menace, but you don't see in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. But they do explain where she went, why you don't see her in the subsequent movies. So, and it turns out like she and Dooku have like a fairly close relationship, or at least a complex, interesting, kind of long-term one.
Yeah, and she doesn't talk backwards like Yoda, so that's a speech impediment unique to Yoda.
Yeah, maybe
Or a
Grogu
choice,
won't.
or a choice.
Maybe Grogu won't grow up to have the backwards talk.
Maybe that's what they added Yaddle just so that baby Grogu
I of course
wouldn't
got like
be
this. I got the screen rant clickbait that was like, why Yoda talks that way, but Yaddle doesn't. Like it's all
oh no.
mapped out.
As you know, Star Wars is the series that
In 1977, George Lucas. Let's start from the top, shall we? So I highly recommend it, especially if you were going to watch no other episode, watch episode 4 of Tales from the Jedi. Super good. I was really going to skip over this thing, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely no Bad Batch. It's no, even like Rebels, there's so much fluff. It gets right to the point. It you can watch it in like a morning. It takes no time.
Yeah.
And no time. And and you'll enjoy it if you're a Star Wars fan. It's very Star Warsy, or in a prequel fan, because there's a lot of good prequel stuff in there.
Yeah, Filoni continues to sort of paper over the prequels.
Yeah, rehabilitate them to the extreme degree.
Resuscitate the prequels.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.